Okay,
All right, all set.
Today is August 26, 2026. This is a meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. We have in attendance Calvin Hunt, Vice Chair, David Moore, myself, Jeannie Gasconi, Chair, Stacy Keene.
Laurie Keene.
Laurie Keene, I'm sorry. I had,
He's an actor, that's okay.
okay. Laurie Keene, I knew Laurie. Laurie Manasian. We're starting late. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:04. I apologize for starting a little late.
You can throw me under the bus, it's okay.
We had to change our location, and it was a little mixed up, but we're all here. So call to order at 7:04. Chair's announcements, I don't have any, but I tend to think of more as we go along, but as of now, I have no announcements. Public comments, I don't think we have public anywhere. Okay, past that, the approval of minutes for the July 22nd meeting. You had
I have,
changes?
I don't know if you put it under motion and then we can make the amendment, so I move to accept that with amendments. So,
We
somebody
have to-
second,
I'll second.
okay, so amendment, I found when I reviewed the motion, there was a piece that said, under the minutes, that says Summer Street property, the CR is still in the works. It is the town council, it's at the town council for acceptance. That's incorrect. So the minutes should reflect that the town attorney was working on, the CR is not at the town council yet, it's not the motion. The town attorney was working on it, so I'm reading my notes. Motion to, the motion should read, minutes should read, town attorney is preparing the CR for the town review with the intention of having it done in August. That's the change.
Okay.
And there's one Scribner's error. There in there is supposed to be fire, and it says FIR, F-I-R. I don't know where it is, but I moved that we fix that.
I'll find it. Okay, discussion on those changes. Okay, Josh, roll call.
Unless you guys want to make me feel needed, you don't need a roll call vote since everybody's there in person with quorum.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion? Aye.
As
Opposed?
amended, as amended.
As amended. Okay, financial reports. Josh, can you put that up?
Yes, yeah, I can, give me just a minute here.
Yep.
And this was the, July, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it's just loading, so. It's up. Share screen. And if you guys have trouble seeing, I can get a little closer. How's that for you?
It's showing up on the right over there.
Yeah.
Make it just.
Did you need me to zoom in?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Slide it up a little bit, and I think you're good.
Okay, what it shows is Josh is adjusting the size of that. Under the revenue budget to actual, this is basically, or is our startup, the figures. We budgeted 950,000 for real estate surcharge. So far this year in July, we already got 278,000 plus, just over 278, which is pretty good for the first quarter. Taxes were due August 2nd, I believe. We've actually in July received 4761 in tax liens, and 13706 in penalties and interest. An investment on earnings, their interest is, we don't include that in the budget, but we did get close to 17,000 in July, which is very good. You can just see our expenses. So far, under FY 2027, nothing has been paid yet except for wages for our admin. And you can see off to the side, one thing, what was left unspent in the admin account for ending June 30th, that got moved over to the undesignated. And I believe the transfer for in the first chart revenue budget to actual, the bottom transfer for special revenue, that was roughly 74,000. That was reimbursement for the Stiles and Hart grant. That got moved over to reserve, I believe. Is that what Laurie said, Calvin?
I'm not sure which reserve it was, but it did not go to the project budget.
Right.
It went to the
It went to-
reserves.
Right, to one of the reserves. My guess would be the open space one. Everything else you can see, we have, the projects that are encumbered already are 963.
Can I interrupt for a minute on the admin expenses?
Sure,
We received an invoice for $3,500 from the coalition that we've sent to the town, and it should show up in the August right now. So this 3,500 that will come against the admin expenses.
good, yep. The other, okay, jumping over to the unofficial balance sheet, the table on the right.
Hello?
The top in gold is what everything on the left in gold totals up to. So projects that have encumbered funds are 963,674. Under the is what's available in the 4 buckets that we have to spend plus undesignated. So it leaves us a balance of roughly 4.3 million.
The total column is, it's 4.4 million
4.4.
that we have available for projects.
Okay, great. And we do have a number of bigger projects being either eligibility forms submitted or applications.
And since this is July, we have a number of invoices that we received in late July and the month of August that have been submitted to the town for payment. If they get paid this month, they will show up on the August report when we meet in September.
Yeah. Josh, I think I sent you a couple today. I'm catching up. I'm trying to see what I submitted or didn't submit. But you got a couple today and you should be getting more probably tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow. Okay, moving on to any questions on the financials first? Okay, we're in good shape. Okay, old business, section F, project updates, projects in process. Hanson Farm, Carlton,
No update.
okay. Stiles and Hut improvement, basically the same, no updates. We're in talks about putting together a committee to go back over the trails. And one thing I noticed, I was looking back at, I was looking for something and I came across it. Oh, on the coalition website, I was just looking to see different towns with, I was looking at specifically parking lots. Then I was just looking at what Bridgewater submitted. Coalition has a great website. You can do a data check, what different towns have put in, what Bridgewater's put in. For Styles and Hart, in the summary that got submitted to the state, and this is where the coalition gets their information from. It said to include 2 canoe launches.
That's what it says for the Styles and Hart appropriation. It include the actual application has other things in it besides canoe launches.
Right, that just caught my eye
Yeah,
as,
well, so the
Yeah.
question is, what do we do next?
yeah, so we have to get going on that.
Who are you go back to on all this? Who are you gonna go back to about, who are you gonna hold their feet to the fire about these things not being done?
I can explain a little bit more, because it got closed out before everything was
Right.
done. That's why we need to have a rescoping meeting to figure out the southern half and the trails and bridge from downriver, all that kind of stuff. And we also, in that project, we have asked for a survey to be done of the boundaries down by the river, the landlocked parcel.
Right.
And David and I have been communicating a little bit with questions about what we really need to do. And I think in the long run, the subcommittee needs to meet and make a determination as to moving forward on that procurement of a survey, because there's just a lot of issues around that.
There is, yeah.
So that's where it's going. David, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've talked to the town engineer. I've looked at as many documents as I can find. There's one more source that I'm working on, with there's a family in town, Jay Leach's son has all the records from the Plymouth County Agricultural Society. There is a remote chance that there may be some definitive evidence in that, but I'm not optimistic that we're gonna find it. I would like to seriously consider, it's pretty clear where the town owns a strip of land across that southern entrance. I would like to really explore, going forward, just put it in, flag it, rough cut it, and then if the abutter doesn't like it, then let him bear the expense of locating his property. Because I don't think it's something, he was okay with the property lines when the town put the sewer easement in. And he granted, or he or his father granted an easement across his property for the sewer line. His objection to it now is that because there have been a lot of homeless people down there in the past, he doesn't want them coming down the trail and walking by his backyard. Well, he can either have them walking close to his backyard over town property, or further away from his backyard of the homeless people, or just residents enjoying the park. If he wants to keep people away from his backyard, then he should allow the town to use the sewer easement to walk on. Otherwise, I believe the town has every right to just say, okay, here's your property, here's where you felt your property was when the town got the sewer easement, and in between, there's a strip of land 50, 60 feet wide that the town owns, that the town could easily put a 4-foot trail through there, and if he doesn't like it, then prove us wrong. I put the burden of the proof on him, because it's going to be a very difficult thing to do, probably even land court, as far as determining the exact bounds. This was we're talking about a transfer of property that was done in the 1890s, and it was very easily identified because there was a building on it.
Yeah.
And basically, it's the land that the building sat on. Well, the building's been long gone since about the 1940s, and nobody has done any surveys since then. There are no bounds out there, So whoever pays for the survey is gonna be very expensive. And I don't see that we should, the CPC or the town should bear the burden of locating a 4-foot walking path over town property that everybody has agreed on for many years. His property is, I'm sure his property where his house is pretty well known. Because when he had the, there were plans when the house was built, when his sewer connection was done and everything. It's on the end of Brick Kiln Way. So it's pretty obvious where his property is. So if we stay 30 feet off of his property and just blow in a trail 4 feet, decide where the trail's gonna go. Whether it's gonna go on the western side of the pond or the eastern side of the pond, in between the pond and the river, determine where it's gonna go. But as far as the controversy around his land, my feeling is let him provide proof that we are on his land. Put the burden of proof on him.
I agree with that. Now, we had requested the town hire a surveyor. Josh, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay, do you know where that request for the surveyor stands?
It's everywhere. I'll say that. Yeah, it's just,
On the
it's,
trails.
it's hard finding somebody that, will return the call to do the work. What I'll do is, Azu has, been out a little bit, on some vacation time. So I'll just ping him again to see if, it's something that he can kind of pin somebody down for us, to take care of it, because he did have a couple recommendations. I called them and I just haven't heard back. So he might have some better contacts or better contact information for some of these surveyors. But yeah, I've tried several times and just haven't heard back.
So it's, the RFP or request for quote has not been issued.
No, not for their surveying.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that we hold off on the survey until we can do some more work on David's suggestion.
I've talked at great length with Greg, the town engineer, about it, and you can't request a survey unless you can provide some bounds, and the bounds don't exist for his property, or nobody's aware of them. Even the guy who owns the land, Mr. Mazzolini, doesn't know exactly where his land is. His father destroyed the building foundation probably 30 years ago, and nobody thought much of it at the time. But now it's more important, and I think it's going to be a very expensive, time-consuming, drawn-out process to identify the exact bounds of that piece of property that he owns. And it'll probably end up in land court. And in the meantime, I think the town of Bridgewater, I just put a trail in.
So my motion is, let's not do the survey, but we don't have a second.
I'll second.
And I think David's comments are legitimate, and I think this group that we want to have come in and start to replan the southern part, because we still have $706,000 in that account for that upgrade.
Sorry, Carlton, can you repeat that motion? I couldn't hear you.
We have $706,000 plus in the account.
He's looking for the motion.
Oh.
We repeat it.
The motion is to not conduct a survey at this point until we can do some further work with the committee to replan the southern part of the park.
You got a second.
Okay, got it.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
Do we need to vote on it, or are we still
Yep.
discussing?
Still
further
discussing.
discussion? I think David's idea is a good idea.
And what I can do is I can go in with Google Earth and get some rough. I know the boundaries. They're laid out in the town GIS system, and we can get the distance from the north side of the river up to the north side of that landlocked parcel. And then we can put several, like David said, 10, 20, 30 feet above that and just draw a line in there and see where that goes. But it has to go to a committee to really make the decision.
Yeah. David, so the side of the building that's still there, is that town
I
property?
believe that
or-
was the power plant for the brickyard,
Okay,
and not for that building. Because I'm not aware of any power plant that, in that building. That building had a chimney, for its own heating system. And that went down with the building, when the building came down.
but there's still a brick wall there.
Right, I believe that was all part of the power plant for the brickyard, and I believe that's all part of town property,
Okay,
clearly town property.
so
That-
I
that's a
would like to
question
see
of-
that restored
We
too.
have a question about that, so that's one of the things we wanted to have in the survey, but I think we just need to hold off a little bit longer.
Right, I agree.
And what David is suggesting is the trail that goes to the north of that little landlocked piece. You go up there and it actually could go up towards the pond that's there instead of a straight line that goes across now. You can go up there and then come back down and we can finish all that. So it gives a more better feeling.
Yeah. Ideally, I think the best location is along the bank of the river, but we don't know how close his property comes to the river. But I think it's to everybody's benefit, the town's benefit, just for scenic beauty following the river. It would be much more attractive rather than, putting it through the kind of the overgrown field between his old factory lot and his house lot. And that way we could go down around the western side or the eastern side of the pond, between the pond and the river. And I think that would make an excellent trail, as opposed to, because if you put it on the other side of the pond, you're gonna be 30 feet from his bedroom window. And, nobody wants that.
Yeah,
So, let's work together on this, Ms. Messalini,
yeah,
let's see what we can do.
I agree.
He's talked about a chain link fence, to keep the public out of his backyard and so forth. But then that's gonna restrict his access to his property. There'd have to be a gate and all sorts of things. Hey, just keep it on the river, keep everybody happy, and
Yeah.
keep everybody away from his backyard, but we'll see.
Okay, any other discussion on Carl's motion to hold off on the survey? Okay, hearing none, just a voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nope. Passes 5-0. Hemlock Drive window replacements.
Very quick update. I checked with them today and Lily Leonard indicated that their schedule is scheduled to be finished, I think, the end of this week. She provided me with a slide, the schedule, and they had one or two small things to do and they thought they'd have it done today or tomorrow. The rain again delayed them, but she expects that to be done by the end of August. We did receive a number of invoices that I think Gina forwarded the payment. And what I can tell from their tracking, once we pay the last invoice that went in, we will have about $4,600 left in that account, which I think will be used up with the little bit I just talked about. So we're almost there after 2 years.
Thank you. Townhouse interior historical architect assessment.
Me again, there's a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock with Joe Booth and Associates to give us, they've completed the survey, they've drafting their report. They are looking for pictures on the inside of the townhouse before, 1970, back when some people remember that town meetings were out there, or Board of Selectmen meetings were there. They're trying to find out the openness of it. What did it look like back then? So we're searching on that. We have one more possibility. We've reached out to Ron Adams' daughter. I've reached out to him. We reached out to Ron Adams' daughter to see if when he had what I'm told was Christmas parties for the staff up in that area, and she thought she might have a picture. So I'm still crossing my finger. I've done a lot of 4 or 5 hours of research at the BSU with the some archives over there, some old newspaper articles looking for pictures. I haven't found anything. So, but tomorrow we will receive preliminary findings at 10 o'clock with Joe Booth, and then they'll go ahead and finish their report. Josh, the other thing I sent you an email with, and you probably weren't, you probably were on vacation, but I looked at the deed restriction on the townhouse, and it has a couple of things that it says, and it's on page 4 of the deed or the agreement, and it's archaeological activities, and quote, the conduct of archaeological activities on the premises, including without limitation, survey, excavation, artifact retrieval, may occur only following the submission of an archaeological field investigation plan prepared by the grantor and provided in writing to the state of archaeological. I was reading that to mean that maybe we should have gone get permission to actually ask them if we could do the survey. We've done the survey, but we just need to be cognizant of the fact that anything, future plans, etc., need to go to Mass Historic for approval.
Alan, to follow up on that, it's actually the next thing on the agenda. But the cultural council grant, that was awarded to the town, does that have to go through what you just said we should have gone through?
I think it should, but again, cultural grant went in there. I think Mass Historic is involved with that somehow.
Okay.
So, and to update that one, we've requested the grant from this town to get from the state through the town from the state. They have not, to my knowledge, have sent the grant actual, so we don't even know what it is. We don't even know if there's a start date, who the state assigns the architect, engineers to look at the building. We just don't know anything more than that.
Yeah, I can actually update on that. I just put in the confirmation from the August 11th town council meeting for the match. So that should be updated. So hopefully the state is getting back to us with an update as to, who's going to be assigned to us, and we can go from there. I've, sent everything the state has sent us as far as the information for the grant. But we just updated that like a week or two ago.
And so for the public and the committee to know, we have agreed that we could cover it's a $16,000 grant, 8,000 from the state and matching $8,000 from us. And so the town would have to come to the CPC for that funding. That's the source of money. And we can pay for that out of our admin fund if necessary.
Right, and we've notified the town council that, the town manager, that we have voted to support the match. George, you just want to jump back to Stiles and Hack for a second? Do you need something officially from me to hold off on the survey?
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't been getting anywhere with it, so I just won't do anything until you guys tell me to start up again.
Okay.
That's easy enough.
You might just confirm with the zoo and the town engineer that they're not moving forward on it.
Oh yeah, no, I can already tell you that Azu, he's got his own plate of food to deal with right now. So he was definitely just giving me contact information to reach out. He wasn't taking anything by the horns. I'm in full control of that. Like I said, I've been, reaching out to places and leaving messages. I've emailed a couple places. I have a running list going, but I'll hold off, and just if they do respond to me, I'll just let them know that we are holding off for right now, and we'll reach out as soon as we make another decision.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thanks. Did that. Multifunctional fields, Pat Driscoll is the liaison, but he was unable to be here tonight, but I did talk to him. They received from Larry Silva, our surveyor.
Yeah, the survey, and they had a site meeting.
Right, so they had that, they have received a site plan, very preliminary from Silva Engineering. They weren't completely satisfied with it, so they've met, they've gone back to him. Part of the working group for that did include Mark Thomas as chair of Parks and Rec. But Mark is no longer chair, Tom Origi is, so they walked the site with Tom to go over it. One of the things Pat had updated us last month, that they were talking about taking out a tennis court, putting a bounce wall,
Oh, yeah.
a bounce wall instead. He said they discussed it, and because there are no either none or very limited tennis courts in town, to keep the 4 tennis courts. Make up also the pickleball courts combination, because there's a desire for more pickleball courts. So that's what that stands. One of the things they weren't happy about with, or what, I shouldn't say not happy, but kind of different. Their large field. So our engineering had it in as a lacrosse field size wise. They wanted to be multifunctional, so different sports can use it. So they're just looking to get, I think Pat said he just got it this afternoon, but he hadn't had time to look at it. Our revised preliminary report.
And I will point out on the revenue sheet, project, it shows that no money's been transferred over to the company doing the survey with the work, but we have signed off on a number of invoices, so it should show up.
Are they looking to make that field like a football, soccer, lacrosse field?
Multi-use, flag football, soccer, not primarily lacrosse
Yes, I
and
thought.
other uses.
Just wanna check some. Okay, Josh, I thought. I know one bill was definitely submitted for Silver Engineering.
Mhm. Yeah, so I got one bill and then I got
Then I got
a
2 more. So there should be 3 altogether.
is it okay? So I think we paid one, right? And then I got an invoice that had 2 bills.
Okay. And I'm
And
trying
that's
to
the one
find-
that I had sent to you for approval. And did you
Right.
just approve that today?
I didn't approve that one yet, that one's on the Silver Engineering, but I have approved one for them previously.
Okay. Yep. So I think I just scanned you in one, scanned and sent you one a week or so ago
Yep.
with it has 2 invoices.
Okay, and that's on my list to approve and get to you.
Yeah, I had that, the windows, my time for July, and I think that was everything.
Okay. I know I have the windows in.
I can resend them to you if you can't find them either.
Okay, I'll double check those. So that's where the field stand, cemetery assessment.
I'll briefly jump on that one too, because Josh briefed us that right now they've received additional, the RFP's been out. There was a meeting on the proposal with people that were interested in bidding. That's occurred. There were questions asked at that meeting. We've sent out one amendment, and now we're going to be sending a new amendment out because a whole bunch more questions came in. And actually, we were supposed to receive the bids on the 2nd and 3rd of September. Because we have to get those other questions back out, Josh has indicated the town is willing to extend the contract delivery period for a couple of weeks to the 16th of September, something like that. And right now we're working on some addendums to that. Thank you.
And I looked it up, Carlton. It's August 24th was the deadline for the questions. So we have received the questions that we had been working on were before August 24th. So everything is they did everything correct. It's just there were so many questions that came in. It's just taking us a little longer to get this one out.
So we'll deal with that on Monday and then they'll get the extension. Josh said, I think Josh, you said you'd get the extension out tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow is addendum 2. Tomorrow's going to be addendum 2, and that's just for the extension. So we'll send that out to everybody that has requested the RFP or posted on Combis. So they'll receive that. They'll know that the new deadline has been moved from September 2nd to September 16th. And then Monday after the officer meeting, we're going to finalize the questions that'll be sent out. Our aim is September 1st to send out addendum 3, and that'll be the remaining questions that have been asked.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Questions from the committee on?
No.
Okay. Parthenon Freeze account, you said you were looking to,
No update yet.
Okay.
I have to, I've dropped the ball. I haven't been down to push on Bridgewater Trophy to get it done. Promise I will get it done.
okay. Okay, fire department restoration of your San Quentin hand puppering historic pictures.
Heard nothing from Greg.
Okay, and it went to the town council. And it's been, they had their first reading, they referred it to their subcommittees, and we haven't heard anything since.
Yeah. Committees have not met yet on it. I'm hoping those committees will meet before the first September town council. So we can get some movement.
Okay, good. Then you'll be hearing all from Greg on the whole thing. Completed projects, final steps, Broad Street properties. No change, it's still the project's closed, we're waiting for the CR. But Carlton, you addressed that earlier, there's a change for the minutes. Mobile station is also pending the CR and final report. First Parish Unitarian Church windows, we have final invoices. I was just looking for clarification because they talked about reimbursement and paying directly. But I've clarified, we have 2 invoices. One, the church has already paid, so we need to reimburse the church. The other, they didn't have the funds to pay the second one, so we can pay the contractor directly. And I believe in their grant agreement, it said there were two possible means to fund, either reimbursement or for a nonprofit would pay directly without the contractor. So
But the windows are in.
they are in, I have the 2 funds.
Accept Payment and.
Right, and Josh, she sent me some pictures that she may have, what she wrote to you last week when I was away. She may have included the pictures, if not, I'll send them off, and I think Bill Smith had some pictures too.
Yeah, that'd be great for the final report.
Yeah, and that should close that out, so I'll get you the request for payment this week. Oh, pending projects eligibilities approved. Applications are pending for both the library improvements, and an active play area at Leach Field. Maureen has nicely agreed to be the liaison for that when the application comes in. Library improvements, Larry,
Sure.
okay, so put Larry Keane as when that application comes in.
I can give a quick update for that. Chris did have to go to the Historic District Commission for the windows. So I believe I believe they recently had their meeting. I just have to check with him to see if he was approved for the windows that he's requesting. Um, and then we'll come back with the application.
What's the? David McCallum can like, mine,
So
what
the-
certificate of
the AC
appropriateness?
The HDC, any outside activity in the historic district must be approved by the Historic District Commission. It's called a certificate of appropriateness. So any painting, any roofing, any work on the common, and any work that happens inside a building that you can see inside. If you got big glass windows, you can see inside there, they have control over that.
Wow.
And there's been 3 projects recently that got, some that did not pull permits to do work, but did not know they were in the HDC. And so those 3 projects have been notified that, and I was Bill's been on top of that. And the library is one of them. But the library is not one of them, there's 3 other ones besides the library. So I think I think the Historic District Commission met and revised their policies and procedures document because it was quite old. And I haven't seen an update, or I've just heard from Bill that they've done that. And so there's a bunch of activity around that. But
Yeah, that's actually on my desk. Because the document is so old, it's we can't easily edit it, so I'm going to have to go back and type it all up. And it's it's I want to say like 20 pages. So I have Bill's edits for it. So I'm just waiting to get some time to sit down and type away at that. The good news is once we do that for future edits, they'll be very easy. And it'll have, an easily navigatable table of contents and all that. So, and then we can get that posted on the website. I did want to say, I think, and we might want to go back to the minutes, Gina, but I think you might have gave Bill the liaison for the library because of the windows.
Okay,
I think you
I think I did, thank you.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll find something else.
Good enough.
You'll find
Yep,
something,
you owe me, Lori.
Temporarily.
Yeah, okay, good. Any update on the adaptive play area? I know they're working with Jim Small.
I haven't received anything. I don't know if they just haven't had me on the email or what. That was actually something I was coming to you guys with because I didn't get we didn't get a chance for the officer meeting before, just with some things going on. But yeah, I'll check with Jim. I know he was running out of the office the other day and he was asking about the eligibility form for something else on the agenda tonight. But I'll see if I can't connect with him and see where we're at with that. I know that I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was going to send me everything that she has on it because she had a few letters of support, and then we were going to put the application together with Jim. But I haven't seen any of that.
Right, yeah, Sherry.
But
Fry.
I'll connect with everybody to see where we are with that.
Right, and her name's Sherry Fryermuth.
Yes, thank you.
I think it was Sherry, right?
I don't remember the first name, but I remember the last name. I had the kids in school.
Okay. Okay, potential projects, Jenny Leonard Park. As we said in other meetings, that's Jenny Leonard Park on Cherry Street needs drastic work. It was originally built as a neighborhood park. The neighbors who built it are long since gone. Not just moved, like gone. Have passed away. Parks and Rec is holding off on that because of the Oldfield Estates had offered to the town a parcel, and there was a lot of discussion on it that it included drain basins and things. Talking to Pat Driscoll, who chairs the planning board. the plans to what wants to be donated has to go back to the planning board. He said they've just received, that's what he just received. Was the updated information, and it should be on the planning board's next meeting. Which I believe is 2 weeks. But the next meeting, so. He's sure everything will get worked out. Then, once the planning board approves it, it goes to the council and they have to approve it as to accept that parcel of land. Then it adds. I can't remember how many acres, but it more than,
About 8.
Yep.
About 8.
it more than doubles the size, Colin. I walked it one time with Pat. It more than doubles the size. The Jenny Leonard Park was in such disrepair, old equipment falling apart, the old, not really a gazebo, the old,
Pavilion,
yes,
was a pavilion.
yeah, field pavilion. Such disrepair, falling apart. The old field estates people went in and cleared all that. They got rid of it. Which was going to be a lead up to the town accepting the property. So hopefully that comes to fruition at some point.
Gina, I mentioned it before and I'd like to add it again. I hope when the committee starts talking about a plan for that property, that it has police department access.
Yes,
They've got to be able to drive up to a point where they can shine a light through the park. Because if they can't, it's gonna suffer the same fate as every other park in town.
it's true, yep.
And that's what
Thanks.
happened to Jenny Leonard Park, Rainbow's End, they're all in the same boat. The police department can't shine a light. When Rainbow's End was developed, it was clear from Flag Street, they cleared the brush, so that the police department could see from Flag Street, they could shine a light in there and they could see what's going on. Once that brush grew up, the park went downhill. Same with Jenny Leonard. We have to have, and I know down at Jenny Leonard, there's been some objections to that because Jenny Leonard sits up high. But there still has to be a way to get a cruiser in next to that park to be able to shine a light in. And it would also be an excellent place for an ambulance
Oh,
to
yeah,
get in for
absolutely.
emergency
Mhm.
egress. So whenever that committee starts talking about that park area, I hope they include that. And
Yeah. Good, thanks for the reminder for that. As you said it, I remember you telling us before. Now, one of our, I say Warren boys, that probably like our age, came to Parks and Rec one time. And it was his parents that started the park, started the neighborhood park. He said, if you're looking at the park, excuse me, to the right, there used to be 3 or 4 parking spaces.
along on the road, there were 3 or 4
No,
parking
he
spaces.
said it was cut in, it's all overgrown.
I'm not aware.
Yeah,
Could have been.
I couldn't think, but I was just wondering if that is the big hill, like in the
I
front.
don't think anything went up on the hill. It might have been parking spaces in front of the park, but there used to be a set of steps off of Cherry Street going up to it.
Yep, yeah, there.
And I'm not aware of any vehicular access.
Okay. I keep saying when I go by that way, I'll check it out. And I-
Whenever that gets done, there's gonna have to be a committee formed to really think it through.
Right,
Yeah.
right, agreed. Playground accessibility at Marathon Park, Josh, have you heard anything?
I have not. The Disability Commission did just have a meeting, yesterday. It wasn't on their agenda. Um, it might be something that we as a group, so town manager's office and CPC, just, see where they're at with that and see if there's something that we can help with. I know that David had originally assigned some of his members to get a better idea as to what they were wanting to get at the park as far as like the swing, like the different playground pieces. And then the goal was to get those ideas to Jim so that he could price it out so that they could submit that form. But I don't know, what the progress on that is. They just didn't have an update on that. It might have just fell off their radar a little bit over the summer because I think they missed a meeting. So it might just be a friendly nudge from us to get them back on track and just see where they've made progress and see if it's something we could take over for them.
Great, thank you. Track at Legion Field, Jim Small is just, we talked at our last meeting about how wide to make the track. He wants to look into, it won't be the rubberized surface. He was looking into different surfaces that they should stick with the stone to what. So he was researching that. So hopefully soon there's more to do with that. If there's anything that we're talking about, and you guys want to jump in, just jump right
Well, I
in.
was thinking, as you're talking about the track, is that perhaps you should talk to the phys ed teachers at the Williams and see if they use it. I used to use it. And see if they have some input as to what they would like to see used out there.
It's a good idea. Yeah, because they were talking not to make it the size that it originally was.
Yeah.
Which is what, a quarter mile, I believe, for a track, to make it shorter,
But why?
but I think it had to do with the different fields, like the T-ball and, but that, they were talking about that too. They should probably stay a quarter mile if they can.
If they can.
Yeah. Okay, senior center walking path.
No update, but if somebody wants to pick up talking with them,
There you go.
I can brief you offline about what's going on,
Okay,
provide you
great.
some information. I think the senior center right now is with the shortened hours and that kind of stuff, they're a bit not the high focus
I'm
right
sure, yeah.
Right,
Okay.
and then looking at, I think the parking lot's in process. Or they just got money to redo the parking lot.
Money, but nothing's happening down there yet. Well, as of last week, we had been no work done.
Okay, application template update. Josh, that might, I know everybody vacations and busyness and cut hours.
Well, I can provide an update if you guys would like. I don't want to take up too much of your meeting. I feel like I keep talking.
No, I mean, that's
But
how I feel.
but I did. So we had originally planned to meet with the CPC officers with one of the IT staff, James, to go over the changes. Unfortunately, James was unable to make that meeting. He had something going on at the police station that he had to be part of. So we've been kind of going back and forth with my time off and everything. But today I was able to get James to come in for a few minutes, and him and I went over all the edits that myself and the officers went over a few weeks back, and I can actually put them on the screen to because I submitted this to IT. Give me just a moment here. Let's bring it up. And it's going to be the edits. So some of the edits we can't, he's not sure about. So we are going to work on getting the font larger. So this is a PDF of the current application. It's got links to the 5-year plan. It's got some additional information up here. There was a request that the font be larger, just basically throughout the application. That way, when this goes out to the committee, it's easily read. But the next edit we had was to add a fillable table with a cost breakdown. So this is something that James was unsure if they could do through the revised forms. So he's going to try to put something in there with some categories, just some we can tweak the categories if he's able to get it in there. But otherwise, what we plan on doing is having a link right here so that the applicant can click on said link, access a table, save the table, and then add it later on into the application. But we will have some type of form or something for them to be able to include a cost breakdown, because right now all that is on the application is the amount requested and total project cost. It doesn't go into if they're getting additional sources, how much they're requested, how much of it they're requesting from the um, committee, the CPC compared to what's being provided from other sources, things like that. So we did want to get that in. He's just not sure what is possible um, with revised forms. So another edit we had was in the project contact area. For some reason, we had contact person and a project manager, which the contact person would be the project manager in this case. So we're renaming it to just project manager. That way there isn't a bunch of telephone numbers and emails that make it confusing for us to get a hold of who's going to be in charge essentially. So that should narrow it down. Just some edits here to rename it to town committee versus committee. Um, we're gonna under the project narrative. We're going to link the 5-year plan here as well, and then we're requesting the list of CPC goals and priorities right here. Um, just some basic edits to just the general information on the form. I think the real big ones were the cost breakdown part of it. We're gonna move this because right now there's several locations for for the applicant to upload files. So James is unsure if the applicant can upload multiple files when it comes to the upload file button. If not, what will happen is we're going to move this option to upload files at the bottom of it. That way it's not confusing up here. And then that way, if they can't add multiple under that choose file button, then we'll just add, 5 or 6 that they can add as they need. So that will, because this right here, if you guys can see it, there's a star next to it. So essentially, it was requiring somebody to upload something here in order to complete the form. So they had to upload something here, but there isn't a star right here. So that could be confusing. So we're getting rid of the middle one essentially. Um, and the assurance. So the assurance was kind of in a weird spot on the application. It was at the last page, but it was towards the top of the last page. So we're gonna move this whole entry right here, underneath or right above the assurance checkbox. So this assurance or this checkbox right here that's required is essentially what should have been with this assurance. So that's just a rearranging of the format of the application. And I think, yep, font size up. I think that's about all the edits. So we'll hopefully have that done. Um, James said that he's actually off. He's gone away on vacation for a few days, which a much needed vacation, I'm sure. Um, so he's gone. Hopefully, he said that he could have it to me by next week. And then what we could do is present the application again to the committee in September for a vote. If anybody has any changes in the meantime, we could get those implemented and vote whenever you guys are ready for it. But it is live right now because it is much better than what we had before. But we'll have the official vote from the CPC ready for the finalized application in September, hopefully.
Couple of comments, Josh. Is the
Yep.
checkbox, is that actually checkable?
Yes. Yep. I double checked. Everything is checkable. Everything is clickable. Yep.
You may want to just say, check the box.
Yeah. That
No.
did I not put that in there?
That's fine. The other thing is for the cost breakdown table.
Yeah.
You may not need a table. You could have a set of uh, project costs,
Fields.
task A, task B, task C, and put that in, and then have supporting documentation being uploaded.
Okay. Yeah.
That's another option.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, if he can't work something into that, that's because he said that he might be able to do like a simple Excel like outline box that somebody could fill in. That's what he's gonna try anyways. I think that that would be great because then they don't have to attach anything. Yeah, they're not having to attach more stuff than they already are planning to attach. But yeah, we can once we get that once we get those edits made, we can always reconvene and see if that makes sense to everybody. We can do we if you want to give me like 5 minutes at the next meeting, as long as it's ready. I could even demo it, so I could go through the whole process to show you guys how it works. And we could test it out live. So we could do it, and then I could show you how it arrives in my email and all that. So.
Thanks. Um, one of the last things on the application, and it
Yep, you
said,
want me to bring it back up?
yeah, could you please?
Yep. Which page was it?
It was the last page, and it said, keep going. Little more. Okay, right there, it says, under the insurance disclosure, it says, please. No, it's not that one. It was maybe down further. It said, make a choice.
Oh yeah, you must choose at least one option.
But
Yeah,
what
so
is-
so I did mention this to him. So this again, this star signifies that it must be addressed before they can submit the form. And in order to have this box be checkable, so this is the assurance box. This is saying I acknowledge this assurance up here.
Mhm.
Because that this wasn't this is how it was. It was in a weird spot. So this
Okay.
whole certify under penalties of perjury is going to go right above here,
Mhm.
and then this right here, this by checking this box,
Mhm.
it's for that assurance. But in order for him to have that checkbox, he has to have an option, and then because there's an option, it automatically puts this like signifier in. So there's not a he didn't put that in. That's just automatically how their forms are.
Okay. Is that going to be confusing to people like it is to me that there's no option to select?
Yeah, no, I think if they once and
Once
again,
it's done, the changes are made.
Yeah, it might be.
It might-
yeah,
might be-
once you check that, I think it goes away.
Oh, okay.
But because I printed this directly, this isn't a completed or submitted application. This is just right off the page. It's just showing this right now.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yep.
And it's 1,000% better than the paper one.
Yes, yeah, and I really like how everything can just be attached so easily. And from I mean, just the eligibility side, those how they come in and everything, I feel like we've been able to immediately see, the information that they've provided and go right back to them and say, we need this extra rather than where before we had to like expand the box, bring out all the text out of the box to make sure we weren't missing anything, making sure that they didn't miss anything, things like that. I think the new eligibility forms have been great. And I told James that we'll all have to give him a parade or a round of applause at the next meeting because he's been doing great
I
work.
agree, I agree. Great, thank you for
Yep.
that. For your work on it too, and with James. Okay, CPC membership vacancies, Housing Authority, they did, I believe the council approved a new member to the Housing Authority. And it's my understanding, but I might be wrong, that it's that new member that they're going to appoint the CPC. But I'm not positive, I
That's
haven't
fine.
heard anything on that,
They've been told.
Stacy.
No, I said, have they been told that's
Oh.
what they're gonna be doing?
I don't know, Josh, do you?
Sorry. That's
No,
just-
that's, yeah, that was my understanding, when they appointed this new member,
They knew they'd be doing this.
that person would come in here, but I can follow up on that with the housing authority. Second citizen at large position, I take it we haven't had our. Like,
I haven't received anybody. I mean, I did just so we did put an operational update out on the Facebook page, and it specifically advertise it. We each month we advertise as one of our committees, so I put the CPC in again. I think I'd put you guys in there for May or back in May. So I put you guys in there again, just advertising that position again. We can post it on Facebook. I just haven't had any hits on it. The number of applicants for volunteers has actually slowed down. So I don't know if it's just kind of summertime and everybody's away right now, but hopefully it picks back up.
It wasn't overwhelming
Yeah.
before it slowed down.
So, there's a new
Yeah,
web-
yeah.
There's a new webpage in town that I went on, and it's supposed to be a positive one, and I just put in that the CPC is looking for a new member.
Oh, good.
So I just put that there in the hopes that, and it doesn't have a large following, but hopefully somebody will see it.
Yeah, I keep asking IT to change all the buttons on the webpage to go to the apply for a volunteer position, but they don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, that's good, we'll keep on top of that. New business eligibility forms received, we had questions on, actually, when Carlton and I talked about it quickly, we had questions, and talking about dropping the ball, I did write to Stuart Saginaw, who's the head of the coalition, asking his input. I wrote sort of late, or actually very late to him asking for his input. He did write back and say that he would be glad to help us. I sent him the eligibility forms and what I thought would be eligible, and I looked for his input. He said they have so many people, cities and towns writing and asking for help and for guidance that he couldn't get back to us by tonight. The one thing he did address was for the Titicate State Foundry, that the video, they support work for a physical project for historic, but to use the historic funds, and it doesn't support making videos or any type of advertisement. But my follow-up question for Stuart for that is, as I said before, I was just scrolling through projects from other towns, and I did see quite a few that reference making videos and making movies to go along. So I do want to further ask that. Same with parking for the two recreation ones, the first recreation, the town parks infrastructure and recreation restoration. Part of that included a parking lot, repaving the parking lot. Part of it was to make areas ADA accessible. Included the parking lot, and we thought parking lots probably wouldn't be eligible, but looking at again, the coalition site, there were a lot of parking areas. So I don't know if, looking for committee input for this, if we want to hold voting on these three as being eligible, until we hear back from Stuart Saginaw. Or the other option is, I'm sure they're all potentially, eligible. I personally have questions on each one, like the town parks infrastructure, tree trimming. You know, to me, that's a maintenance issue. Same as repaving the lot, as far as the park repaving, the slope to make it ADA accessible. I looked at that slope the other day from the Parks and Rec office going down to the field, supposed to be the handicap. I wouldn't want to walk down it, let alone be handicapped going down. So things like that to make it ADA accessible would be eligible, but there's other parts of the eligibility form that I personally question. And it's my committee that put it in. So it's up. I don't think, and I talked to Jim Small, Parks and Rec Superintendent this afternoon, went to ask him if there was a big rush for these things, and I forgot. And I was going to call him back, but was packing his daughter up to take her to college, so I didn't want to interrupt him again. David, are you in an absolute rush for the state funded?
No, you're suggesting that, putting together a video, present the project would be more effective. I could do that easily.
Oh, no,
I wouldn't wait, I would have to wait till fall because everything is so grown over right now. All you're gonna see is a sea of green.
No, I think you had said in your eligibility form. I think you had referenced. Let's see, Parks and Rec. Okay, I think you make it smaller.
I think what you look,
Okay.
what David put in here was to identify the boundary, create committee on public safety. Production of Cannon site was instrumental to the American Revolution, so it's well documented through. The state archives, we wish to, this is from the Historic Commission, we wish to place a marker at the site on the side of the South Street and make some basic improvements to the existing parking area. We also want to produce an informational video on significant sites. I think the signage and the parking lot may go together because we're going to improve it for accessibility purposes.
Right.
If it's most of the stuff that's on the web, coalition site for parking is accessible parking. So that's a critical element, and it says the video. So I'm not sure if that's eligible. So I would prefer to wait and just get a little bit more input from coalition. But I think there are parts of this that are absolutely eligible.
Right.
And the signage is, if it was the signage by itself, it would be a problem, because that's just informational. But if it's the parking lot and we happen to need a sign, it works better.
What?
That's my take.
Right, and I think for the ticket, state funded, I think the parking would be part of the project, because you're going to have a historic site with a marker. And you need to have someplace for the people to.
David, is there already parking there, or is it?
There's a rough parking area for possibly 2 cars. If people have put in, or people have trampled down, just to fish on Sturkey Pond. So it would be an improvement to that area.
For recreational purposes.
Recreational purposes, I think, I was just gonna ask a question, has it ever been discussed, the possibility of a partial trail around Sturtevant's Pond, because the town owns most of the shoreline of Sturtevant's Pond. And the last subdivision that went in on the northern side of Sturtevant's Pond does have a right of way out through that first house. The first house, the house next to the pond is quite a ways off of South Street. So there is a right of way that goes from the town property out to the roadway. So people can easily walk out that, back down the roadway and back down over the dam or down South Street and back to their cap. So it would be an excellent natural trail
Mhm.
if somebody wanted to do that. A trail could be incorporated into the project very easily, with the high point of it being the marker and the parking area
Mhm.
joined in with a trail that goes around the pond.
So where is, I know the pond and I know how you say to, I've never walked around it, I know how you say to go,
Neither is, it's pretty well grown over.
yep, to,
I don't think it could.
Could you make that as accessible if that's gonna be part of the issue? Could you make it, cause it's fairly flat, isn't it? Just,
It's fairly flat, but you run into one spot and you'd have to determine whether you're gonna put a bridge over it. I don't know how wide the wetlands area is.
oh, there is one.
Because that pond is fed by Snow's Brook, which comes down closer to Vernon Street,
Mhm.
and it goes behind the Lyman property and so forth. So I don't know how wide that wetlands area is, but the land does pick up on the other side, because a person has just bought most of the land on the other side. It was a large parcel, 7 or 8 acres, but he doesn't own up to the pond. That was retained by the previous property owner who donated it to the town. So there is a wetlands crossing. Yeah, so I guess you would either have to bridge it or you'd walk out to that point and then go back to the parking lot.
Yeah, go
And
the
then
other
go
way.
back around and walk the other side, from the other side.
it's something to look into.
It's a possibility.
Mhm.
Would the commission be willing to take what you just described and kind of add it to this as a possibility? Because I think that's important. That part of town doesn't have a lot of trails,
No,
and so that would be an important part of it. So if we could flesh this out a little bit more.
okay, I will, I'll get some mapping and I'll rough it out. The potential for a trail within the bounds of town-owned property
Excellent.
right now.
And then you can see how much wetlands there is.
Yeah,
So
See if it's gonna be an issue or not.
I would move to hold this one and for some updates from the historic commission.
okay. I'll do that.
So that's my motion.
Yeah, and I get it closer to the fall anyways, because fall, the greenery's gone and everything will be much easier to see.
So we can do this as a motion or just a consensus, we'll hold it.
Whichever.
Let's just hold it for now.
Yeah.
What about to further that question, would creation of a trail, would that be part of this state boundary project? Or,
That's what I'm suggesting,
Yeah, it could be all of State Foundry Trail.
but we need to look a little bit more
Yeah.
right,
at what it would entail.
okay. Okay, so we'll hold that one, that's on holding the other two for Parks and Recreation, I think we should wait.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
I agree with that, I'm a little bit concerned about $1.3 million.
That's a lot of money.
It's what they're suggesting, and not just a suggestion, but a lot of the ADA compliance stuff for recreational needs is basically a good thing. But I don't think the tree trimming is,
No.
Right,
rises to, they mentioned public safety, but really, if you have to, you look at the, acquire, create, preserve, support, rehabilitate, it really falls on the recreational rehabilitate side.
Mhm.
mhm.
And tree cutting for safety purposes, while I really appreciate it, probably doesn't become eligible, so
Right.
I would hold.
That's what I said,
I would say if we're blocking a potential pathway, then maybe it would be eligible, but it's not, right?
I think the concept needs to be developed slightly more for us
Right.
to make an informed decision
Right,
on both of those.
right, and the sign is It's an electronic. And I speaking from both CPC and Parks and Rec. Jim Small, who had come up with this because they have just the one you change the letters constantly. And Little League wants their registration up there and softball wants theirs and midgets want, and there's only so much room.
Mhm.
So he was looking at something that he could put everything up on. And they could change it, it's electronic. People could see it driving by more than just these little letters up there. His thought was to ask the leagues that play the outdoor game to contribute, which I thought was a great idea.
Absolutely.
But when he looked at the cost, because he was going to ask them to fund the whole thing, he didn't. But I think Parks and Rec should go back to the leagues and say,
Yes.
this is for your benefit, you don't have to pay the whole thing, but
Right.
contribute, so I'll talk to them on that. So we can hold those,
So we're holding them, but we're also expecting additional input,
right, from the,
formal input.
right,
Revise the eligibility form.
if we need, if they need to revise the eligibility form. And plus input from the coalition on what's available. What Stuart had written about their, I mentioned their video. He said CPA is a capital improvement program for physical work to historic assets. Historic interpretation is never eligible for CPA funds. So videos, brochures, and other such interpretive activities are not eligible. So you have to look into that more, because I did see the projects were approved for videos, so we have to wait for Stuart for that too. Okay, anything else brought up by the committee?
Yeah, I've got one. Bill Smith sent me some concerns. And basically, apparently in Plymouth, there's been some concern about CPA funds being used, but not conservation or historic preservation restrictions, deed restrictions being placed. And so he's quite concerned that we don't have a good list of that. And I did in fact start one several months ago, and I call it Missing CPA Deeds. I have a draft of the Mount Prospect Cemetery. I don't know if the book and page was ever done. The townhouse has a Mass Historical Commission because of the work we did recently. The Hanson Farm has a Wildlands Trust Concom. Thousand Heart, the 5 acres that we purchased and the 2 parcels that we received, that conservation restriction is in progress. The Summer Street Park, as we mentioned earlier, there is a conservation restriction being drafted by the town attorney for approval. And then I don't think the Academy building ever had, because $5 million of CPA funds ever got a restriction on it. But I also have in my files, the Memorial Library is held by the Mass Historic. I've got that one. The townhouse is, I mentioned that it's double set. The First Church is held by the HCC. The Keith Homestead has, on Lakeside Drive, has a preservation restriction on it, but I have no idea who holds it. The Lake Nip area, there's a Commonwealth has taken some more, the Lake Nip area behind the Keith House, that's held by the Commonwealth. And then the Murray Needs and the farm, Murray and Needs Farms are both have restrictions. So this whole conversations around this, the town actually have a really solid list of conservation restrictions, whoever funded it, especially CPA funds, and historic preservation restrictions. So I think one of the things we need to consider in the future is making sure we can move that list forward and have it posted on the webpage.
Yeah, that's a great
And
idea.
what was Phil's concern again? In Plymouth?
In Plymouth, there was an article that came out. uh, It reveals that Plymouth has systematically failed to put in place required preservation restrictions in connection with CPA funded projects over the last 25 years.
Well,
Even allowing for this fact, that even comes as no surprise in Plymouth. We've done a good job of that, and this whole article, I can send it, or we can send it. But this is a 4-page article that talks about Plymouth. And he became quite concerned about that, and what have we got on record? I do know that the town's GIS system, if you go to the Community and Economic Development Department, go down to maps, you'll find a GIS, and in that, it's a state-based GIS, and you can actually click on it and show open space. You can show lots of information about the town, all the town-owned properties, parcels. You can look at all sorts of overlays in there, flood zones, wetlands, all of that kind of thing. But I looked at that and I'm going like, wow, there's a lot of conservation land here.
where did you find it on the website?
If you go to the top of the website and go to government entities, and click down into the Community and Economic Development Department.
Okay.
You dig down a little bit deeper, it's called Maps and something. And you can click on that GIS system and it's very interactive.
Oh, that's cool.
Unfortunately, being retired, I spend a lot of time on that. But it also answers a lot of questions.
Sure.
Especially flood, Town River is only 10 feet above sea level on the south side of town. There's actually a flood zone during a high storm event that would get into the Ticket Park area and the park area that we've been talking about tonight, potential. That's all in major flood zones. And as the ocean rises, believe it or not, I think it is, comes up higher, that's gonna get further inland.
And what part did CPC play in the McElwain School project?
We provided $1.3 million. We paid for it to be put on the National Historic Register with admin funds. And
No
it was put-
restrictions attached to that?
I think the money that they got from the state and other things may have, but I had it on my list. What's on that?
Yeah.
Especially the school itself.
Mhm.
And
School building.
actually the house that was historic.
Yeah,
And that's just another reason why we need this
Mhm.
compilation. Good thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the driving force, and Bill, I hadn't talked to Bill about saying this, but since he and I have been communicating on this issue, I thought it would be important.
Sure.
We'll put him in charge of it.
Yeah, we can have that. Well, the Unitarian Church windows are complete.
Yeah, but they have a deed restriction on it.
Right, but I'm thinking Bill was at liaison.
He's got time now.
So he'll have time, he can pick up another one. Well, he has the
This
library.
is a whole new project. But anyway, I
Yeah,
just think
no,
that
good, that's,
he can dig in.
Plus for the Keith property, I seem to remember that
It's
Wildlands
out on,
Trust,
it's out on.
Wildlands
the
Trust
NIP.
helped that.
It's on the NIP, and
Conservation
it's
restriction.
historic, and it was a Washburn house way back.
Yep.
Keith Parsons.
I remember that when I
Town
was on
took it.
conservation.
The town got it, and then the town sold it back out. But that had and there was that was 15 years ago.
Right.
There was a deed restriction put on the house. I just don't know who holds it.
I think it's Wildlands Trust.
for the house itself.
Wildlands Trust has not the building. They carved out the building back into private property. That building had private restriction on it, that house. Around it, yes, Wildlands Trust and the state hold
The actual
the
home.
conservation. No, they did not own the house. It's privately owned. The house is privately owned.
It's been a big discussion on Facebook recently,
We
the
Interesting.
house.
so, but that was way back at the beginning of CPA, and there was a lot of work done on it, but because I was inside the house, and the historic elements of that were incredible.
Mm.
But the town acquired it with CPA funds, but then sold it back out, and the CPA funds that they received in went back into the CPA accounts.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, my friend lived there. And going to the house, it was absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my other.
One of the Beatons,
No, Olson's,
Olson.
Dave Olson. One of my golfing friends. Okay, anything else, right up? Committee liaison reports, Concom, anything?
Nothing new.
No. Open
Nothing.
space, nothing. It's a
Uh-huh.
tough time of year for
Yeah, it's just,
everything.
yeah,
David?
Nothing.
It's just- Parks and Rec, they already talked about it, so basically nothing new. Upcoming events is, I'd like to direct people to the Charter Review Committee. They've had 2 open sessions. One was a couple weeks ago at the senior center and it was very well attended. There was one Monday night at the library, which I think had maybe 8 people at the most. And that included some people that had been at the other, but they're having another one on a Saturday. And I don't know the date off the top of my head. They are, Josh, do you know the date of that?
Sorry, of the what?
The date of the Charter Review Committee, their open session is on a Saturday in September.
No, let me see if it's posted. Hold on.
Okay, I think it was.
Let me see. For this Saturday?
Nope,
I think it's in a week or two.
yeah. And they, while we're looking at the date, they also have their surveys out, and it's a link on the front page of the town website,
Oh, yep, Saturday, September 12th from 11 to 12.
September 12th. Good, thank you. And voting in the state primaries next Tuesday. I can't believe it's September 1st. already.
yeah, I know.
But, okay, we have no public comment. The next meeting will be September 23rd. That's on this room. I like this room now that we figured out how to do the furniture setup. I actually like it better than the Academy building one. Thoughts?
Doesn't matter.
I like it, yeah.
I like. the
Takes me
cozy-
more time to
I
get
like
here.
the
but,
coziness of.
I'm 5
201,
minutes away.
Well, true.
but This is a great backup.
Okay, David?
Okay.
We'll see what Josh can find us from.
I will be out of town.
When's the next meeting?
Okay,
23rd of
Wednesday, September
September.
23rd.
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, it might be
If
okay.
nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So you're gonna have the meeting here again, you said, or
Well,
you're
I
not
know.
sure yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it will be hybrid.
6:30 again.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You feel like the chat room tonight. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nope. Okay, 5-1 to adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.